I'm Joe Reel, and this is The Creative Mind. Welcome back to another episode of The Creative Mind. I'm so sorry that it's taken so long to release this episode. As you can see, I now have a video version of the show, and that's actually why it's taken me so long. I've never edited video before, so this is a new stage of creation for me, and hopefully it does well. I really wanted to take the show here. I wasn't planning on doing it this fast or this soon, but episode 2, why not? Let's go for it. So now, along with audio, you can also get the show in video format on YouTube. As the show goes on, you might notice that the room will be changing a little bit through each episode. That's because I'm actually redesigning this whole space, and hopefully within a couple weeks, it'll look awesome. So you might notice pictures change on the back, posters change, or even the color of the walls. This episode features director Scott Hansen. Scott is about to release his first feature-length film called The Possession Experiment. The Possession Experiment will be released in theaters nationwide October 2016. You can follow Scott on Instagram and Twitter at Scott Hansen Film. And go ahead and also check out his website at scotthansenfilm.com. Remember to subscribe to the show on iTunes, and if you haven't already, please give me a rating and review. Giving The Creative Mind a rating and review is the best thing you can do as a listener or viewer. It helps others discover the show, and it's absolutely free. You can now also subscribe to the show on YouTube. You can follow the show at facebook.com/The Creative Mind Pod, or on Twitter at TCM Pod. That's at TCM Pod. And while you're on Twitter, go ahead and follow me at Joe_Reel. That's Joe_Reel. Now, without any further delays, let's get into the interview. All right, so I have Scott. Is it Hansen? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay, Scott Hansen on the podcast today. Thank you so much, Scott, for wanting to come on here.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime.
Yeah, we just started the podcast, so one of the hardest things has been actually getting people, because everyone's, you tell them, they're like, yeah, I'll be on a podcast, and then when they say, oh, how many listeners do you got? I'm like, well, only a couple, not that many. We just started, so
start somewhere.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. It's awesome that you've decided to come up on here.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah, so basically I found out about you, it was a while ago, I guess. It was kind of, to me, you've kind of always been the guy in Hampton Roads. It's kind of the man behind the, I guess you say, the curtain.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'd always hear these bands come through, and they're like, yeah, we just recorded a music video here in Virginia Beach. I'm like, who is doing music videos for these bands out here? And lo and behold, I finally found out like 6 months ago, that you're the man who's been doing all this work.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
I like hiding out in Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
I used to live in LA, and I didn't like it that much. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Did the whole LA thing and all that, but VB is cool. It's kind of just laid back, relax.
Yeah. So, are you born and raised Virginia Beach, or?
Yeah. I was born here, and I went away for a little bit, and got a lot of contacts there in LA and all that, and did a lot of video stuff, and just moved back recently, and actually about to head to Atlanta next in like a couple months, which is funny. So,
okay,
all the movie people are kind of going there right now.
Gotcha. They're doing, so the way I understand is like each state kind of has like a funding for movies and filmmakers and stuff like that. It's like a tax thing they do.
Oh.
Does Virginia have some? Does Virginia do something like that?
Oh yeah, you went out for a second. Okay.
Okay. All right. You got me.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Okay. I was asking. So the way that works is that they do like a tax thing for filmmakers each state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Georgia is just a little bit way better than Virginia. Virginia doesn't have much at all, honestly.
Man, that's a shame. Is that something that you're seeing change though? I know like Richmond's been doing what is it, Washington Spies Turn?
Yeah, they do Turn, Washington Spies, Mercy Street. But yeah, they've been those two shows have been taking up all of the tax incentive actually. So they suck everything up, and there's nothing left for anybody else, which is pretty funny. That's how it's been going recently.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've also been doing some stuff in New Orleans, is that correct?
Yeah, I shot a few music videos down there in New Orleans. And then that was pretty fun. Shot out a haunted house for this band called Cane Hill. Kind of like a new
Hill. Yeah, okay.
Rob Zombie or something.
Yeah, was there some stuff you did at the was it King's Dominion or Six Flags down there that shut down? Did you film any of that there? It looked like you had some amusement park stuff.
Scouting it. No, I didn't. I didn't film anything. But I was just checking it out. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm always exploring, trying to find new places that could work for movies.
Yeah. Were you able to get in there, or was it guarded?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, they don't let anybody in there, so I had to get like a special permit, but it was cool.
Yeah. We actually just went down for Jazz Fest. I just got back last week, and
yeah.
We tried to go in there, and they had a security guard at every entrance. I was like, dang. What?
Yeah, because we shot at the House of Shock, so they knew somebody.
Oh, awesome.
It was just like a hookup, because, but yeah, that's when I was there, I think, too. So
cool. Yeah. So basically, I kind of want to find out what your story is of how you got into this whole filmmaking thing, because you've done music videos, you've been doing that, and now you got this thing coming out that we're going to talk about later. I guess it's the Possession Experiment.
Yep.
And is that your first feature-length film, or have you done other stuff?
I've done a documentary, but yeah, this is like the first one. I don't know. I don't count the documentary as a first feature, so I mean, but yeah, I would say this is definitely the first one out the gates, out the door. But yeah, no, I got started. I went here, obviously, like I said before, and I went to. I used to play football actually in high school, which is funny, and I got injured, and I'd always been an artist, and I blew out my ACL, which is horrible.
Yeah.
I hate that injury, but I blew out my ACL playing football, and I've been an artist for like 20 years. So I always draw sequential art, comic books, death art, whatever. Got thousands of drawings in the house, and I just went to art school. I was like, let me try art school, and obviously this football thing is not working out. And I went to art school, and I got accepted to Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia. Mm-hmm. And they gave me a half scholarship to go there for drawing sequential art, which is, comic books.
Yeah.
So I did that for like 2.5 years. And then my roommate he was taking the editing class. And this is like 2005, 2006. He's taking the editing class, and I just got to help him out in the short film. And, doing comic books is basically doing video, but just drawn form. So basically storyboards and doing all this different in motion art. And then when I took this editing class, I helped him out on this project, and I was just like so excited about the process. And, well, this is way cooler filming something than drawing it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of elevated everything, and I just was hooked from there. And I switched my major the next day, and I was actually in a band too, so that's kind of where the music videos kind of were like playing around.
Wow, so you're just like a jack of all trades. You got your hands and everything.
We had the jam band in college. It was death metal stuff, and it was just like that was my thing. And we would try to tour, but we were so broke. We couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I mean, that kind of opened. I had a lot of musical friends, and I actually see you have Under Oath poster behind you.
Oh, so
yeah. I know those guys well. I knew like Classic Case. And
did you get to go to the tour they just did through here in Norfolk?
Yeah.
Dude,
me and Chris got some food afterwards. The keyboardist.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we were hanging out. Went and got some beers afterwards, but yeah, I love those guys. I've always been friends with them. And then but it was just weird. It's just, in college, and I got exposed to all this different filmmaking stuff. And then I came out, and it just like opened. The music videos are a good way to learn features, because you're working on low budgets. And then when you get up to the movie status, it's like, oh, I know how to do all this stuff with no money. And now I can go to, give you some more money. I can make something really cool. So it's a good learning experience overall.
And have you always done like the editing and stuff yourself, or do you have a team of people that have been working with you?
I have a team that works with me now, but yeah, for the most part, I still do all the final edits, and anything, any of the heavier stuff like I'm always into, or horror related stuff. But yeah, I edit all my own stuff, and but on like the feature film, I had like a couple co-editors help me edit the film.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, awesome. So you did the it's Atlanta Art Institute?
Well, it's Savannah College of Art
Savannah,
and
I'm
Design.
sorry,
They
Savannah.
call it SCAD. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so you went from there and you got into the filmmaking, were
Yep.
introduced to it with your roommate, was it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
by accident.
Yeah. So from there, so I was reading a little bit on your bio. You said you had basically like what 5 months before graduation, and you had to just switch everything over.
Yeah, yeah. I switched everything over. So it's funny because I paid all this money to go to school, and I didn't use any of it. So filmmaking was like after, and I just through music videos and like commercials, I just picked up and I just went with it, and I started gaining my skills over the next 3 or 4 years, and then music videos kind of opened the door for everything for me.
So from graduation, what was was there a gap of time where you were kind of like, how am I going to get into this film industry?
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea how to do it, and everybody was like, you need to move to LA or Toronto or New York, and I've never been to Toronto, and New York City is more like a travel place. I need to have a truck, so if I can't have a truck, I need a backyard. You know what I mean? I'm that guy.
Yeah.
Like I need space. I can't live in New York City, and so I tried LA, and LA was cool, and I've been there before, and I visited a lot of times, but just too much traffic. I'm an East Coast guy. I think East Coast people are more friendlier, and
yeah, definitely.
Mannerisms.
At least the southern East Coast.
Oh, yeah.
It gets really weird when you go up north to the New England states. People kind of start acting strange.
They don't even have sweet tea there. It's just
I know, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have raspberry tea or ice. I'm like, no, sweet tea.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, here's some Splenda. I'm like, no, that's not. It's not
I know you can't mix
you
it.
don't understand.
You can't mix it in once the tea's cold. It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
You can't. They don't get it. So, but yeah, I think the traffic killed it for me out there. Honestly, the traffic was like, if we're going to Lynn Haven Mall, it's going to take 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
For like 15 minutes, 15 miles. So it's like, it's just the traffic killed it for me, and the experience out there. But the weather was nice, but it was too the same. It was always sunny. And I missed, the weather and the cold and the snow sometimes. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I came back and now I'm I opened a studio here and I actually just shut it down because we moved to Atlanta in 2 months.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
So I had a studio here for like 3 years out by Dam Neck Road.
Okay.
So like a 10,000 square foot spot. And that's actually where we built all the sets for Possession and the dock. So
what was the studio name for that? That was the Thunderdome?
Yeah, Digital Thunderdome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a Mad Max reference, or did you just?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yes. It's like one of my favorite movies. It was always like the saying behind Digital Thunderdome is the Thunderdome of creative people under one roof kind of thing.
Cool.
And that's what the logo means. So
you didn't tell people as they came in, 2-man enter, 1-man leave.
I mean, if you went up to the prop room, it was definitely possessed.
Oh, okay.
There was all kinds of like chains, and I still have I have 25 prop guns and like every cleaver you could imagine, and axes and like all kinds of funny stuff. That we had a prop room that was amazing, and people would just come visit just to see the prop room because it was like heads and decapitation and arms and like any weapon you can imagine, and foam weapons, and for all the shorts and stuff I collected over the years. So.
Yeah. So you said you're moving to Atlanta.
Yep.
Okay. So, and that's how many months did you say that is?
In July. July. So we'll be there in July, and then I got another movie I'm producing up in New Jersey, and so I gotta move there, and then 1 week after there, I have to head up to Jersey for a whole month to shoot another movie, a boxing film. So it should be fun.
Awesome. So the wheels are starting to move for.
Yeah. Possession's definitely picked up some. It's kind of like opened more doors, I guess you could say, and I got hired onto this to be a producer. I'm not even directing this next one, but they're like, they like what I did with Possession and how it came out and all that.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, it's opening doors, and it's getting out there. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So you said that in college that you were originally doing comic books or drawing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is the method? So I've always been interested in this. Is the method for writing a screenplay that's similar to that of writing a a sketch of what you're going to do for the story for a comic
Oh
book.
yeah. I mean, I think that's why I differ from a lot of directors, because I can actually draw.
Yeah.
So like half of these guys, like they'll go hire storyboard artists, but I have respect for, you know, like George, who did Mad Max. Like the new Mad Max was all storyboards.
Yeah.
Like no dialogue.
Wow.
I don't know if they had no script. They had over 4,000 storyboards for that entire movie.
Wow.
And they just winged it. But it was so visually beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, they put the actors in the position and they had the actors feel out the dialogue based on the surroundings. So that's why you don't hear Tom Hardy say anything half of the movie, because there's no script.
Yeah.
It's all reaction. But I think, I mean, that's another reason why I love Del Toro. I love John Carpenter. Those are like my heroes, because those guys, like, they draw their scenes. Like Del Toro has hundreds of sketchbooks that he draws all his own monsters. And I just think it's like, if you can draw, you can direct, you know, you can tell a story, it's just creating a story. It's just another way of creating a story, I think. So. Yeah.
And so your creature factory, or whatever you want to call it, the section that you had at the Digital Thunderdomes, were you making these props, or did you have people doing it for you?
Yeah, I have a couple of people here that work on the monsters and stuff. Because it was funny, when I was doing sequential art, I took a side class called Creature Design.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you're not going to find that ODU or anything. No, so it's like, but at art school you would, and it was specifically for building monsters. So that when I would have side jobs for like making werewolves for, you know, for short films and Bigfoot pranks and all these funny things. Like, but I mean, I have like, I don't know, it's a whole FX shop, because there's like all this cool stuff and scary stuff, and like there's like dolls and like creepy things and Ouija boards and
I mean,
anything you can imagine. Yeah. It's like it's kind of like The Conjuring. You ever seen The Conjuring?
One of the
where they have that bottom room with all the haunted shit.
Yeah, their room that they have. Yeah.
That's exactly what I have. It's just props. So
awesome.
It's very similar to that. But.
Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about your music video stuff. How did you get your foot in the door for that? Was it something that you just started doing locally, and then it just picked up word of mouth? You know, people saying, "Hey, this guy does awesome music videos. Check him out." And
yeah, it was. It was funny. I was looking for. I was doing like, you know, a lot of rap video stuff, and this is a funny story. I'll make it quick, but. There's this guy, I would shoot rap videos because those guys always had the money and they're straight up cash. So it was like, all right, I'm looking for cash. I'm fresh out of college. And I was shooting this rap video for this guy, and we had to hire this backup dancer.
Yeah.
So it was like this really skinny black guy from Canada, like super skinny. And I hired him for like $50 for the day. It was like 2008 or something, 2007, I think. And his name is Aubrey, right?
Okay.
And Aubrey... he's like, when you see the video now, it's hilarious because he goes on to become Drake, like the Drake.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so like I hired him for $50 as a backup dancer in the rap video, and now he's Drake, millionaire.
Yeah,
he's all ripped now. But it was just like I would meet all these weird, crazy people, and even in 2009, I did a video for Willie Nelson, and that was just like word of mouth.
Yeah,
and. It's like the Willie Nelson, so it was like, you know, it was hard to go there and like not wig out, because it's like you're trying to like focus and be creative, and it's freaking Willie Nelson riding up on a horse to set, and it's just crazy. Like, but it was just the connections you find. You do one video, and then somebody hears about you, and then you do another video, and then you become friends with bands. I go to a lot of shows, so I would just meet all kinds of people, even. Sumerian Records, like they were just starting at the time, and I started doing all their opening videos, and now they're a huge label, and that was only like 6 years ago. So
wow, yeah, because I noticed that you had done stuff. Did you do Veil of Maya's? You did one for their album Id, right?
Yeah, I don't even remember which one it was.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. And so you were saying, I didn't catch this until I was just thinking, but you said, I thought you were saying that the guy that you were doing the music video with was like Drake. You were saying he is Drake.
Oh,
now.
He is Drake.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Wow. That's crazy.
But he was here. He was here, and so this is when Kanye was here and all those guys. And
wow.
Yeah, I paid him $50, and now he's like worth like I don't know, it's a couple $100 million. Like it's just funny to think about. And
that's hilarious. Yeah.
I even met Trey Songz too. I shot with Trey Songz before he became famous too. Awesome, so it's like you meet people and you're like, oh, they're just regular people, and then 2 years later they're massive.
Right, and then you can kind of name drop that and be like, yeah, by the way, I've worked with this guy.
I still have his phone. His name in my phone is Aubrey because that's his name. Nobody knows that. Yeah, but his name is Aubrey from Toronto.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know what you were talking about. I was like, okay, yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, you meet interesting people, and I mean, I met so many bands that were, just awesome. Like, I mean, Unearth was an amazing band to do videos for. I did like 5 videos for Il Nino, which back in high school, Il Nino, when they came out, they were like huge,
Yeah, so I'm looking through your awards right now. So you actually won an award for doing Carnifex.
Yeah.
Their music video, and that was in what, 2012 or
2012? Yeah. Until I can't remember the name of the video. There's so many music videos, so I was trying to. If sometimes you mention, I won't remember. I just remember the band name.
Yeah.
Carnifex. They were. That's when MTV2 still played videos on MTV.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
No, I know. Yeah, it's a different time. Yeah, and I guess that was so they won. Was it Brutal Video of the Year? Is that what they got on MTV? Yeah. Yep. Wow,
that's video or something.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so what? I mean, I know. I'm looking at your list of music videos you've done, and it's incredible. But
thanks.
Is there, looking back or thinking back, if you can, any of those? Are there any that stood out to you? You don't have to say any names because I don't want to trash anybody. But is there anything that you look back and was like, that was like, why did I do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh, there's so many of them where. I don't know. There's so many bad ones. You just, it's just like, this is how it is with any kind of business. You're going to run into bad apples all over the place, or shoots that go wrong, I have a funny story. It's some pop guy, Jackson Harris in New York. We shot a video and I had a classic car and we were towing the classic car. And we had rented it from these people upstate New York. And we were shooting on this road, beautiful Ford 1960s, like awesome. We had it on a trailer, and one of my other buddies hooked it in on the crew, and we're driving up this super steep road, and we're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be good, and just dropping it off. Shoot went great, and we get to the house, and the lady comes out. She's like, oh, how'd it go? How was the truck and all that? I was like, oh, it's great. She's like, where's the truck? And I was like, what do you mean? What? And I look behind me, and the truck's not on the trailer anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
So her classic car that we rented, the guy didn't hook it in on the tires, one of the straps broke, and it rolled down this road all by itself and flipped over in a ditch.
Oh, my gosh.
It was total this classic car. But
yeah.
Good thing we had insurance. But
okay, good. Yeah.
There's crazy shit that happens all the time that you cannot plan for, but it's
just the way it goes. Yeah.
It's part of the fun stuff, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Is there anybody, so in contrast to that, is there anybody that you look back on, and you can name this person because we're going to talk good about them, but is there anybody that you look back on who really was like, man, that was one of the best bands I've ever worked with, or one of the funnest music videos I've ever done?
Oh, yeah, I would say probably a Day to Remember was a lot of fun. They're pretty big now. But we did a video for them. And I mean, Willie Nelson was like just hands down amazing. I mean, the guy's like 85 and he had a 500 acre, property in Austin. And we drive up, it's like 5 a.m. in the morning. And he's like, he has this mansion at the top of the hill. It's just like everything you would imagine, like for Willie Nelson. And we set up the crew stuff and set up all the cameras. And he rides down on his horse, Rocket. And the guy's like 85. And he just hops right off, like no problem, And I'm like, you just, it's like surreal. It's like wake me up.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. But then it's funny because we started shooting some of the takes, and his manager was like, "Oh, hey, Willie, it's 8:30 in the morning. Willie's kind of tired. He needs to wake up. He needs to smoke." And I'm like, "All right, cool. Yeah, Willie Nelson, weed, smoke. Yeah." Figured that was definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
He's like, "No, everybody needs to smoke with him.
Wow.
It's a sign of, respect." And I'm like, "Hell yeah. Okay, cool. Sounds good to me." But there's like these two Asian, my DP, the film guy on the shoot, he was an Asian DP.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do that. And I was like, "Hey man, we need to, you need to do this because this is Willie Nelson and you cannot disrespect him." And so I had to take the guy to the side and talk to him for like 15 minutes and try to convince him to do this.
Yeah.
I was like, "It's nothing major. It's just Willie Nelson. It's a sign of respect. He's going to get really mad if you don't do it. So do it. You have to do it." And he eventually did it. And it was just,
did he?
It was just like
no inhale, just kind of puff on it.
Yeah, just a puff. Like just a quick puff. It's Willie Nelson. You tell your grandkids about this. It's like meeting Elvis.
Yeah, or roll them up a blank and just give them the paper and be like,
he did. He was so timid about doing it, but he finally came through. And it was a great shoot. It was cool. So,
wow, that's incredible. It's funny hearing stories about every story you hear about Willie Nelson. There's always something involving weed, like his.
Yeah. That's his thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So you've had this time? I guess how many years have you been doing the whole music video thing? I mean, I'm looking on here. It looks like 2004. You started with Jet Noise.
Yeah, that was my very first. That was a friend's band. So that was that was the very first one. And then I had to finish school in 2006, and then I started doing them probably about 2007, 2008 professionally.
Okay.
So 8 years, somewhere around there, 9 years.
And are you currently still doing them, or now that you've done the Possession Experiment, you're kind of getting out of that and more?
Yeah, I'm trying to stay more in movies, but I mean, it's like my day job now. It's like it's been my day job, but I mean, and I got a few in LA next month, so it's like I got a few for Rise Records, and then this Irish band and called Grey Wind. They're kind of like a Paramore kind of lab. I'm shooting them. So I mean, music videos keep popping up, but the main goal is to get the features where it's straight movies.
Yeah,
it's kind of a process.
Yeah, is it something? Are you going to try to stick though with doing music videos on the side as you go into the filmmaking industry?
I don't really want to.
Okay.
But it's kind of like a dead. It's dying. It's a dying like art form. I think it's just the budgets aren't there anymore. It's the music. The musicians are like struggling to to even have people buy their music now. So it kind of pinfalls down to us. It used to be great, like 6-7 years ago it was amazing, and now it's like for something that used to be 50,000, now it's like under 10 for the same thing. And it's like, and technology's gotten better, so it's like, oh man, you can do it on your iPhone now.
Do it yourself.
Yeah, so it's an ever changing thing, but I think like movies, that's forever, and that getting to the bigger budgets is like definitely the goal.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think the change? I know I actually do another podcast called Two Men Talking Movies, and we just we basically rate movies and talk about it. But one of the things I think we were talking about was how it's basically changing. They're talking about being able to rent out movies now at your home. Like as they come out into theaters, you'll be out. There's possibly talks that they're going to let you rent a movie for like $20 or something like that, and have a
big
about that. Do you think that's going to affect the film industry at all, or do you see like that's a good thing?
I don't know, like because it's going to be interesting because I've heard a lot of things about like the Weinstein Company. Like they tried to release Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2 in theaters and on Netflix at the same time.
Yeah.
And all these theater chains do not like Netflix. So they battle back instantly, and they say we're not going to carry your film anymore in the theaters. So Netflix just took it, and it didn't make half the money it could have. But I think it's going to happen that way eventually. I don't know how, but that's from the Napster guy, right? He came up with that idea.
Yeah.
Sean Fanning or something. I mean, it can work. I mean, it's just for me. I still like the experience of going to see Captain America, Civil War with surround sound and IMAX, and I have a nice TV too. So, but it's not IMAX, and it's not the whole getting popcorn and whole experience that I like. So.
Yeah. Right. I don't think, and I don't think that there's going to be anything that's going to be able to replace that. Because, like you said, there's something about being in that atmosphere of you're at the movies, you're in the seats, and there's people all around you that you don't know, and it's just
you can go with friends, you go have a drink, and I even still go out. Blockbusters aren't around anymore, but I even still go to the Narrow Expanded Cinema movie store,
right,
where they have no credit card machines, no internet, and 100,000 movie titles, where Netflix has 30,000. And I go there every other week and I rent 6 freaking DVDs, and I get a lot of Euro horror or Asian horror movies, and just find new stuff that I couldn't find on Netflix or Hulu, But I love Netflix and Hulu, so I kind of use everything because I'm always watching movies, trying to inspire.
It's definitely going to be interesting watching the next couple years as everything we're seeing. I mean, in gaming industry and the film industry, music, everything's going direct to digital, and it's all, at your fingertips. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it changes and the effects it has on everything. But I'm definitely for it, especially the last people I had on the podcast was a band called On the Go from Russia, and we were talking about basically how in Russia right now, music piracy is even worse than here because the government doesn't care. The government's like, well, people can do what they want. And
oh wow,
yeah. So, and they also don't have Spotify and stuff in Russia, so it's been problematic for them. But I think that's been something awesome that's kind of combated the piracy here in America, is having Spotify and Apple Music.
Yeah, I got both of those because I find new bands all the time that I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, and I don't want to buy an album that's that I've never heard before. So it's neat to be able to hear it in full and then decide, do I want to support this band or not?
And see, I was always kind of for piracy too, even though it's bad. But I'm the guy where if I pirate something, I'll go buy that shit because it's awesome, and I'll go respect the artist. Even with movies, when I used to do that a lot, I'd be like, all right, I can't even see it because some Asian guy filmed this, on his handy cam. Let me go buy the movie because it's great, but... I mean, there's good and bad things, obviously, with it. So
yeah. So let's talk a little bit now about the possession experiment. This is something I don't even remember how I came across this. I think I saw there was a video from long ago. I think it's Mary Dixon. She wrote it.
She wrote it. Yep.
Yeah. So she had something. I think she was the one who posted it, and it was a video of just the guy talking on a webcam about the project he was doing, and I don't think anybody knew it was they're is this, no, it didn't get as much traction I think as it should have, but it was a kind of a hint of it was cool how you guys did that. It was this is a trailer, but nobody knows it's a trailer.
Yeah, we're testing the waters to see what kind of response, especially locally, because it kind of started out as a local thing, and we were just what could we do with this guy? Because I'm a big fan of possession movies, so it's when I came up with the concept, she wrote it, but I was telling her that, there's never been a movie where somebody self-possesses themselves, and what would that do, and how could that be and become something? And we tested the waters with that video and got a lot of good reactions and a lot of negative ones, which is pretty funny. A lot of people messaging that account and freaking out and telling them to find Jesus and he's going to hell.
Yeah.
And even people I knew, which I thought was even funnier because they're closet Jesus freaks, which is cool, but it was just,
they didn't realize it was just
reaction.
It was art. They thought it was real when they saw
it. They totally thought it was real, and I was like, oh man, this is a little more powerful than I thought because we weren't sure how we were going to raise the money, but that video helped raise some money actually.
Wow, awesome, yeah. And so I guess I saw the newest trailer you guys put out, which was a couple months ago, and it was cool. I wasn't expecting it to look as good as it did, and I was really disappointed. I didn't get to go to the Narrow showing that you guys did.
Oh yeah. We just did the Narrow showing. Yeah. That went really good. We packed that out. But yeah, the trailer just came out, and it's a small indie film. Some people think it's huge, and it's really not. It's breadcrumbs to see what you see. It's breadcrumbs, but it's still it's probably the same budget on craft services on a Michael Bay shoot for one day. You know what I mean? That's how big it is. So But when we put the trailer out there, the trailer got a lot of traction, and it got like a distribution deal. So it actually comes out August 12th nationwide, which is pretty hard to do for a small film. Usually they go film that size, they just go to, VOD or online or whatever.
Yeah. So is that a select theaters thing, or is that
yeah, it's gonna be like Cinemark and Regal, but yeah, 750 theaters. I'm not sure which ones, but it's gonna be with those two chains, and it'll be, I think it's like 5-6 theaters per state,
wow, that's
something
awesome.
like that.
Did you guys go through a production company to get that out, or was that something you guys did yourself?
Yeah, we Eddie Murphy's cousin actually owns a studio that bought the film, so it's like random as heck. But
is that through connections that you had, or it was just he?
Yeah, people. We had a lot of offers.
Yeah.
A lot of offers in the film, and even like like the Blumhouse, Conjuring type people made offers, but they had the best one, and we went with the best one.
Nice, yeah.
And then I leave for France today to internationally. It's selling and showing at Cannes Film Festival in France.
Awesome, yeah.
And I've never been to Europe, so this is my first time, and so I'll be heading out there tonight and kind of pushing the film,
Yeah. What other film festivals have you done for the film?
For the film, we did Day of the Dead in L.A., and that was kind of like a horror con. It's pretty cool. Bill Moseley was there, and Dee Wallace, and all these different people, and all these horror icons. But yeah, we showed the film there, and it was like a small room of like 80 people, and we had like 150 people show up, so it was kind of cool. And there's people standing in the back, and I didn't expect any of that. And Bill Moseley even came and watched the film, which was like an honor because he's in the film. But to usually have to pay those kind of people to come to watch anything.
And was it hard to get him in the film, or was that something that was easy getting?
It was funny actually. Yeah. It was I was a camera operator on another movie called Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Okay.
A couple of years ago.
Just a little movie called Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't direct it, but I was like 3D cam op. So what that means is like they freaking put me in this crazy ass rig, and I'm like hauling like 70 pounds of camera rigged to my body and shooting, and it was fun. But I met the director of that is a guy named John Mussenhop, big time Hollywood director. And I actually was like, hey, John, I just shot him a text looking for, trying to get in touch with Bill Moseley because we didn't have enough budget to hire him. And I told him what the role was. I was like, hey, he's going to be a priest. He gets raped by a possessed girl. Yeah. And he's like, oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty reverse right there. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. So he calls Bill Moseley. And Bill was at a softball game in California watching his daughter play softball. And John calls him up, literally says, hey, Bill, got a buddy of mine. He was a camera op on Texas Chainsaw because he was in that too. Yeah. And it was like, how would you feel about being raped by a possessed girl? And he's like, oh, It sounds awesome. And I was like, that's great. Like, it's just that quick.
Yeah.
Like, he was in. Like, so, yeah, we got him. And he came in for a couple of days. And he flew to Virginia Beach. And we shot all his scenes here,
Wow,
So,
okay.
It's pretty cool. It was really nice, and he was actually commending how he was treated. Like he was like, I'm on all these big films all the time, but you guys treat me like amazing, and like I'd love to come back. And so we kind of have like a cool friendship now, which is like,
wow, that's cool.
I'm like a huge Rob Zombie fan, so it's like Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, and the guy's like a sweetheart. It's like crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, so you're going to Cannes, you said tonight. Or flying over there, yeah. I think now Cannes is actually. I don't think people here realize how, or people everyday Joes, but it's pretty. Is it bigger than Sundance, or at least as big? I mean, it's.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest one in Europe. It's like I would say it's Sundance, then Cannes. Sundance is a tad bigger, but Cannes is like number 2, and then Toronto, and then Berlin and Tribeca. So it's like. It's definitely like the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like where you go.
The big leagues,
Yeah, big leagues. So it's pretty cool. Like I've never been. So I don't speak French, so it should be interesting.
Oh yeah. And Cannes also it seems like it has a lot of you see a lot of celebrities and stuff showing up.
Oh yeah,
Cannes,
yeah. That's what I'm excited for because they're showing that new Robert Rodriguez film that is supposed to not premiere for 100 years. I don't know if you heard about that film. Like, he shot a film with John Malkovich where it's going to be released 100 years from now, and nobody can see it except at Cannes. So I'm trying to get a ticket. So yeah, it's called the 100-year film. So interesting concept. It's going to come out in 2116 or something. So
wow, that's crazy.
But yeah, and there's a lot of other films I'm going to check out too. But yeah, I've never been, so definitely going to be exciting and different for sure.
Yeah. So Mary Dixon, did she work with you guys at Digital Thunderdome, or how did you come across her? What was y'all's relationship?
Yeah. She I was reaching out. We actually worked on a script before this called Pungo. It was about the Witch of Pungo.
Okay.
Which we're trying to get funded next, actually. But yeah, she had I had a draft of that script, and she touched it up and kind of rewrote it. But that's how I met her, is like through like a post, you know. And,
oh wow, okay.
And just met her, and she happened to be a good writer. And then we couldn't afford to do Pungo, because Witch of Pungo is huge around here, like that lore and that all that stuff. But we went with Possession because that was a more attainable project for now. So
okay. Wow, awesome. And she, so she wrote the script, and you did some kind of like co-writing on it, or did you do the second draft or something, or how'd that work?
Yeah, she wrote the script, I wrote the story, and then I kind of lay out the story, and she kind of does the dialogue, and then we go back and forth. So it's kind of like a process, good 6-7 months to get something really tight.
Yeah. Did you guys just share stuff kind of digitally, like using Dropbox, or were you guys working in like the same room constantly?
Yeah, we were working in the same room. Okay. At the studio I had offices for that stuff, so it was cool.
What is that process like, writing a script? Is it did you guys put like a date on it, like we have to have this stuff done by this time, or were you guys kind of taking your time and saying, if something comes creatively, it comes, if not, we're not going to force it?
Yeah, I mean, well, my thing is like I'm all about content, so I usually try to do like 4 scripts a year.
Okay.
So I have like 13, 14 now, but I always because you never know when the doors, if Possession was to get out there in a positive way, you never know when those doors are going to come. The studios will be like, "Oh, what do you got next? What do you got next?"
Oh yeah, by the way, I got these 20 films.
This what do you want?
Yeah.
So. I'm kind of preparing, if that scenario happens, but you never know. So, but yeah, I just like to tell stories. I'm a big sci-fi guy, actually. So, I mean, horror is a good way to work my way up. So, that's what I like for now. But a huge sci-fi guy. So
yeah, more so than horror, you think?
What's that?
More so than horror? Sci-fi?
I think they're pretty equal.
Okay.
They're pretty equal, pretty equal.
Yeah. Is there any ideas of what you want to do in the future? Do you have eventually want to do something on the lines of like Interstellar or something crazy like that?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that because I have a script that's very close to Interstellar.
Oh, really? Nice.
But it's called Aura. It's okay. It's big budget sci-fi, but it's about a wormhole and this. It's very cool. It's like. I don't know. You'll see stuff about it,
okay,
but
cool.
Yeah, I'm pitching it to investors in Cannes, but it's called Aura. It's about these miners accidentally find a wormhole in a mine, and it's just a very Interstellar-esque, maybe like meets Phenomenon with John Travolta.
Okay,
a little bit of Contact.
Gotcha.
Mix all 3 of those.
Kind of like multi-dimensional stuff.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what was the process? I don't want to get too much off on a rabbit hole on that, but what was the process of writing something like that has like science in it? And did you have to have someone that you consulted for like, hey, what is this? Or did you kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, it's weird. My uncle is a freaking scientist at the University of Madison with about black holes. So it's like anything science and black holes and mathematics. That's what he does. Okay. So he knows a lot of those big. Famous scientists. So any questions I have about matter or physics or conditions, like I always hey, what's up, Uncle Adam? And,
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, because with the science stuff, you have to, when you're writing horror, it's different. You you have to look to a lot of other films for horror and experience and stuff. And but when you're doing science fiction type stuff, there's more mathematics involved and stuff. And would this happen, or is this even possible? You know, those kind of things.
Yeah, and since I haven't seen the Possession Experiment, I can't say from the viewing, but are you a fan of using jump scares, or I know a lot of people hate that. Are you more of like the slow burn horror of?
I like in Possession too. Like it's like I'm actually more of a comedy horror guy, more like Evil Dead, like style, and like I like jump scare films. Like I would say Conjuring or like Insidious or jump scare films, but Possession is definitely maybe has a few spots where jump scares, but Possession's more of like a Hardy Boys college comedy.
Gotcha.
You know. Not taking the film too seriously, like it's not too. There's a lot of comedy, which I think surprised a lot of people when they were watching the premiere. Because from the trailer, it looks kind of serious, but there is some comedy. And Jake Brinn, the supporting actor, the blonde-haired kid, he's very funny in the film, and I don't think people are going to expect that when they watch it, but it kind of breaks it up. So there's, scary parts, disgusting stuff. And then there's like, you're fucking losing your shit laughing. So it's a good mix, Yeah. I'm just a huge Sam Raimi fan with like Evil Dead and, Drag Me to Hell. I love that movie.
Oh, yeah, it's great,
you gotta laugh a little bit, but then I like the Conjurings. I like the Exorcist, I like that kind of stuff, but, I just feel like you need comedy. You gotta have comedy.
I like that you've mentioned that you like The Conjuring, because I feel like that's kind of a film that's split between people. People either hate it or they love it. Yeah. I thought it was one of the great, best kind of coming back to the jump scares or doing a good job with jump scares in films of late. It's
a good mix. It's a good mix, and that's a great film, obviously. So to even like. Reference that is like that guy's kind of like the new John Carpenter now. He's
right. Was it James Wan? Is that his name?
James Wan. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's jumping over too to do a DC film, right?
Yeah, I heard about that. He's doing the Aquaman, right?
Yeah. That's going to be kind of a interesting thing to see him do. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to talk too about the casting of the Possession Experiment. We talked a little bit about Mosley being in it. So I saw on IMDb when I was looking through the casting, I noticed Dallas Taylor was up there. Is that the Dallas Taylor of Maylene and Sons of Disaster?
Yeah,
is it? Wow.
Yep. And he kind of co-started Under Oath.
Right.
He was the original singer with Chris and I forget the guitarist's name, but
Tim.
Yeah, I did a video for Maylene in 2012 with I had Danny Trejo in the video.
Yeah.
And I'd actually never met Dallas, but I always talked to him on the phone. And then I was just like, hey, man, I'm trying to do this film. It's a possession film. You should come and be in it. Mm-hmm. And, I got him into it. We kind of became closer friends over the years. And, I kind of, the interesting approach about this is like when I posted the trailer, like a lot of band friends shared it. Like Carnifex shared it, Seven Dust. I was blown away by Seven Dust sharing it. Il Nino and so many of my band friends that we've done videos, so it's kind of interesting to where that kind of favor comes back to help you, like, oh, check this horror thing. Yeah. One of our director guys did for us. And Dallas is great, man. He's a really good actor, and, he's in Maylene, obviously. So.
Right. Yeah. Is this his first film that he's been in?
No, I think he was in Joe Dirt. Too.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so he does a lot of. He's in Alabama, so he does a lot of stuff that comes through Alabama or Atlanta. He's been in a few TV shows, but he's a lead singer, and he kind of he's kind of transitioning into acting now.
Cool. So. Okay, that's awesome. So the Possession Experiment. What actually started the? So you said you met Mary and you guys started writing the script. What was it that pulled this out of, say, you had, 20 other scripts. What was it that made this one pop where you're like, let's do this one?
It was just the cheapest one we could do.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
We couldn't afford anything else because everything else was like $500,000 or above, and this was the only one under 100. So it was like, we're just going to go with it. Let's do it. And then we did that test video to see what kind of reaction we would get.
Yeah.
And the test video was successful. But yeah, I mean... if you wait for people to invest in your bigger films, you know, I've learned you just got to do it. You know, just take it in your hands. You can't wait around. You'll wait too long and be forever before somebody tries to even invest. And half of the investors you meet are fake people, and you know, like they are not who they say they are. Yeah. So you know, you never know who you're going to meet. And I just was like, hey, let's just do this. We can run with this concept, and we saw. I even put some of my savings into it and self-funded it. And then we had a few investors come in as well. So
yeah, is that a hard process going out there and trying to get funds and telling people, hey, this movie's going to be great?
Yeah. I keep saying like it's hilarious because like the investing side of movies, that would be the best fucking TV show of all time.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just the most dramatic situations, the craziest money people you meet who only play golf on this certain day of the month.
Yeah.
Who you don't even play golf, and you Adam Sandler that shit so you can fit in. You know, it's just like I've had guys where I have to meet them in other countries or like drive like 10 hours to meet somebody and they don't even show up. You know, it's like the craziest stuff. And most investors, there should be a TV show called Investors, and I'm gonna write that shit next.
Yeah.
So much drama to raise money, and people don't even realize it. It's kind of funny, and sad and freaky at the same time.
That seems like that would be the well, I don't know if I'd say the hardest, but the most stressful part of
very stressful, yeah. Because you know, a lot of you meet money guys. I mean, no offense to people who have lots of money, but the egos come in big time, and it's like, you know, we're going to talk about your script after we drive my Lambo, and I'm like, what the hell? Well, okay, all right, cool, you know, or fly here, fly there, or going to Vegas. So meet me at Vegas. I'm like, oh man, so. I don't know. That might be a TV show down the future because it would be a comedy all the way.
Yeah. Have you thought about actually going into TV? Is that something that you want to do, or are you going to stick with film?
Yeah, I like film more. I'm interested in TV, and I have an anthology horror film or horror TV pitch that I'm pitching at Cannes to investors. Kind of like, I heard they're bringing back Tales from the Crypt without the Crypt Keeper, which
I didn't know he wasn't going to be in it, but I did hear that.
I don't know how you bring it back without the Crypt Keeper. Like I love the Crypt Keeper, and I grew up on that, so it's like the M. Night Shyamalan guy is bringing it back, but he can't get rights to the Crypt Keeper because HBO owns Crypt Keeper.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I have an anthology TV show I was pitching where it's different stories. It's called Psychotronic FM. It's about a radio show set in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Called Psychotronic FM. Sid Haig, you know, from Devil's Rejects, the clown guy, Sid Haig.
Yeah.
He would be the host, and it's really gritty and straight up 1982, you know, cut type sounds, but it's set on Halloween night, and he's like this kind of comedic, you know, weird, funny host, and he takes in calls on Halloween of the scariest story. Each story is a segment, you know what I mean? Or its own little show for that time. But yeah, that's a TV show pitch we're working on, actually.
So it sounds like Cannes is really going to be like a huge, like, this is either going to open a lot of doors or close a lot of doors.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what to expect. You pretty much take your iPad, and I have investor pitch videos, and then you know, people see the. I got 3 movies I'm pitching where it's like me pitching a video. You know what I mean? And then I'll have like pre-shot footage too, or low budget looking footage, but this is what it could be. I even got stuff with storyboards. So yeah, I mean, Cannes is kind of where you go pitch, find money people, and hopefully come away with something for next, you know?
Yeah, awesome. So if there was something that you could tell people about the possession experiment, or kind of, I don't know, a message you could give them about it, what would it be that you would want to say? That, you know, if you could give almost like your little commentary that's a quick message, what would you say about it?
Quick message. Don't play with Ouija boards.
Don't play with Ouija boards. That's the best. Awesome. Okay.
Because we had the Ouija board on set, and I feel like the prop room I keep referring to, the prop room was fucking like straight up haunted after we brought the Ouija board in.
Yeah.
Because the Ouija board, we just start when we were shooting it, stuff would start moving. But by itself, there were some pranks and stuff that we thought pranks, but it was real stuff. like we were shooting stuff and stuff would fall off,
Okay.
The set. And I was like, it still scared the cast members, but it wasn't intended. And it was like, I wasn't supposed to move. I don't know what's
like
up with
we'll keep that to ourselves. Yeah. Do you believe in all this stuff that you're writing? Like, do you believe in the whole, because you said possession is a very, it seems with a lot of people, it's a very, critical topic of people seem to get offended or say, hey, don't mess with that stuff. That stuff is real. What is your take on that stuff? Do you think that it's real or do you think that it's all fairy tale?
I definitely think it's real. Like Ouija boards, I've done it before.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love the occult. I love like horror stuff and anything. I like weird stuff, and I've played Ouija boards before and I've experienced some weird stuff. I'm a big paranormal person. I used to be like, I still do. Like, we went to the roller coaster place that you know of.
The Six Flags there.
Yeah, and I'm I'm just big into the occult and urban exploration and checking out new places, like anything like that.
Yeah, is it something that you think people should or shouldn't mess with Ouija boards or anything, or do you think it's all like, as long as you kind of keep hold of reality, you'll be okay type thing?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Unless you have like a Wiccan close by, or
a priest
somebody
or
can
something.
help you, or but yeah, it's just one of those things you play with, and people don't believe in it, but then stuff starts to happen. So I would definitely always be cautious about that kind of stuff,
Yeah. So you definitely think there's some kind of, I guess, a spiritual dimension or a spiritual realm of other things out there that we don't know.
Yeah. I believe in life after death and like the spirit world and all that. And, I know some of those ghost shows out are there's a lot of fake ones, but I think there are a lot of real ones,
Yeah.
People experience real stuff, and like what The Conjuring's based on, I know that, the Ed and Lorraine Warren, like, obviously it's like made into a movie, so they're going to enhance things and whatnot. But the fact that these people made a living on, like the Amityville Horror House and like the one that the Conjuring 2 is about, the first Conjuring, those are all real places and real happenings, that are documented too. So it's very interesting to see things like that happen, where it's like, oh, I don't know if I believe in that, but how do you know? You don't know until you actually go through it yourself,
Yeah, I think we're going through a really interesting time as the world. We're discovering new stuff with science and things are shifting with religions and stuff. It's interesting. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where we know everything. There's always going to be the unexplained and the we don't necessarily know, and that's okay. It seems like people want explanations on everything, but sometimes, it's okay to not know. Sometimes we're not gonna know everything, and that's all right.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. When I was moving back from LA, driving across, I drove as far as you can get in Area 51.
Okay.
Up until I got up to the black cop cars, and it turned me around. And I the only way, and they block it out in Google Maps, which is funny for Area 51, but when I was driving, I dropped my trailer and I was like, man, we're outside of Vegas, so I'm just going to like go check it out.
Yeah.
And I drove like an hour north up towards the border of Utah. And it's like, I drove down and they have all these fake signs, like these signs where it says like, nuclear facility and like radiation. And it's like to keep people away. And I'm like, man, I'm still going. Yeah. I'm just going to keep going. And I got all the way up into this gate, and, they flashed me like with a giant spotlight, and I was like, "Oh shit, let me turn around."
Yeah.
And then two black cop cars, and one was a black cop car, and one was like a Ford Explorer looking thing. They cut me off. They searched my car, searched me. I was like, "Hey, sorry, I'm lost." I was just. I heard Area 51 was around here. I was looking for it. I was just curious, like, I'm no terrorist or anything, and they were like, "Sure, you can't be anywhere close to this area. You need to leave now, or you'll be arrested."
Oh,
like, hey man, cool. All right, I'll see you guys later.
Did you have like your "I want to believe" shirt on?
No, I wish. Yeah, I wish. But yeah, just it's there. Those places exist, and who knows what the hell is going on down there? You have no idea.
I know.
So.
Yeah, it's crazy. It'd be interesting. it might not even be during our lifetime, but if some of the stuff comes out, the supposed conspiracy theories or anything, what's real and what's not, it'd be interesting to see that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
To see what happens.
Yeah. So, are you a believer in UFOs and stuff too?
Oh yeah, totally. Really? I mean, people that don't believe there's other life on other planets and solar systems, like that's just being too narrow-minded for me. Like, I mean, there's life on freaking Mars. We just haven't been close enough to bring back samples and look at microbes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's organisms. If there's sand and water, which there is water, and they have poles just like here, there's stuff in the water.
Yeah, there's gonna be some kind of microbes. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they get there, they're gonna be like, oh wow, alien microbes. There's life on Mars because that's how life was started here. So it's like.
Yeah, so not necessarily. It's not always that people say, "Oh, there's life." People are automatically, "Oh, so you think there's beings like us, humanoids walking around?" It's not necessarily always that. It could be on the small,
And you have to believe in that. It's just like it's impossible. Like, the Earth, the conditions that made the Earth and humans and evolution and all that is, that's I could go on forever. But basically, it's just like to sum it up, it's just like there's so many different planets and all the conditions were right with how far we are from the sun and whatnot, but there's so many other galaxies and infinite worlds where the same kind of stuff could be going on. We'll never know. We'll hopefully know someday, but
you
just think it's interesting.
Yeah, you definitely feel very small when you look at how big everything is out there, Yeah,
it's kind of annoying. It's like, oh man, when are we going to have like Star Trek type of shit where you can go to other planets and not in this lifetime, unfortunately, but I saw a video with a guy with a hoverboard yesterday flying around like Iron Man. So who knows?
Wow.
Yeah, I saw this amazing video. This dude in France made a jet, just like
it's like a jetpack or something.
Not a jetpack, the glider, like from Spider-Man 2. That Green Goblin has.
Yeah,
he has that same thing, and he's like flying around like 60 miles an hour, and this helicopter's flying over the GoPro. And it's like, wow, dude's freaking floating.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yes. It'll be interesting to see what Elon Musk and SpaceX and all that stuff does. It's really cool that that's in the private sector now, and it's not just a government funded thing.
Oh yeah.
So I think we'll definitely see in the next couple decades stuff of space travel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And even his rocket company they landed a rocket back. Usually the rockets go up,
get destroyed,
and they destroy it. And his rocket went up and came back. Which you think about it should be a lot easier, but it's really complicated.
Yeah. So, and I think I read something. There's been some talks even about interstellar travel, which they think is now possible or could be possible if they.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Which that'd be crazy seeing that happen. So, is there anything else that you want to cover with the possession experiment?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming out August 12th. Yeah. They're doing a press release soon, and it's going to be in trailer in like they're trying to get it on the Conjuring trailers now, which is kind of cool. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, but Conjuring comes out in June, I think. So, but yeah, no, it comes out August 12th, and then I'm not sure the international dates, but yeah, it's a small film, all made in Virginia Beach. And the Facebook is the Possession Experiment. Anybody can find it.
Okay.
Share with your friends, and I'm excited for it to come out. And there's been talk of a sequel or prequel, which is kind of interesting, but they have to base that on how good this one does.
Yeah, the reception. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have a Twitter handle that you would like anybody to follow you on?
Yeah. It's my Twitter is at Scott Hansen Film.
Okay.
And then same for Instagram. So I'll be posting a lot of funny pictures from cans and all kinds of random stuff from my experiences there. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on here.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Anytime, man.
Yeah, it's fun. It was fun talking to you. You're a really, really cool guy.
Thanks.
Like you said, some people get in a industry or get involved in stuff, and they kind of lose their groundedness of who they are.
I've met so many actors and directors who are like full of themselves, and I'm just an East Coast kid, and I love East Coast people, and when you go to LA, there's a difference. You know it. And my only friends out there were people that were transplants from the East Coast. I just couldn't do that stuff. But I don't know. You just got to be down to earth and humble, man. It'll start happening for you.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, look, I'll definitely send you my stuff for possibly getting the part in the Possession Experiment 2 for Priest. Priest 2 gets raped #2. So yeah.
If you need any trailer stuff or files, let me know. I can always send you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, if you want, yeah, that'll work. Send me. I'll message you and let you know.
Cool.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Take it easy, man.
Yeah, good luck. I guess good luck today or tomorrow at Cannes.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, man. It was good meeting you.
All right, you too. Take it easy.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right.
And that's the end of episode 2 of The Creative Mind. If you'd like to follow Scott, you can check him out on Twitter and Instagram at Scott Hansen Film. That's at Scott Hansen Film. He also has a website, scotthansenfilm.com. Scott said he's got some great plans in the future, so he's definitely someone to be watching. You can also follow the show at facebook.com/The Creative Mind Pod. The Creative Mind is also on Twitter at TCM Pod. That's at TCM Pod. And while you're on Twitter, go ahead and follow me at Joe_real. Once again, thank you for checking out this episode of The Creative Mind, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks.